We've all seen the high-step celebrations.
Oh, here he goes!
He's the undisputed greatest cover corner of all time.
What a great play by Primetime!
And Deion Primetime Sanders has now become one of the most polarizing coaches in all of football.
I never settled for mediocrity.
This video will take a look at the 4 players drafted ahead of him. No exaggeration, this is the greatest top 5 picks in NFL history. It includes 4 Hall of Famers and one of the biggest draft busts ever. Let's take a look at the first pick. The Dallas Cowboys held the top pick in the 1989 draft and selected
Troy Aikman, quarterback, UCLA.
After Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys in February of the '89 offseason, he quickly fired the legendary Tom Landry and hired Miami's national championship head coach Jimmy Johnson. With their first pick, they selected a Hall of Fame quarterback. It may seem surprising now, but at the time, not everyone in the Cowboys organization was sold on Aikman leading up to the draft. In fact, there were many that wanted the player that was drafted with the next pick, who turned out to be a huge bust. Believe it or not, Aikman definitely wasn't viewed as a can't-miss prospect. This pick had some critics. A former Redskin quarterback by the name of Joe Theismann didn't care for the pick.
Dallas could have made a better move trading this draft choice. I still believe they could have gotten more help if they'd have traded this pick.
But fortunately for Cowboys fans, head coach Jimmy Johnson and owner Jerry Jones made the right choice by selecting Aikman. He became the face of their franchise and led Dallas to 3 Super Bowl titles in the 90s. Simply put, this guy was a competitor.
That's a damn embarrassment! We can't block anybody up the now hugging the ball early! Junior League!
He was a really gifted passer with only one physical limitation.
I couldn't throw a wet football.
But outside of that, Troy became known as a quarterback with deadly accuracy and ball placement. Aikman never had the jaw-dropping stats of players like Peyton or Brady, or even Tony Romo, but he definitely had some great playoff performances during Dallas's dynasty. Aikman entered the league with sky-high aspirations.
I wanted to be the greatest quarterback ever.
Did he become the greatest quarterback ever? No, but Aikman was one of the pillars of the Cowboys franchise throughout the 90s. His rookie season was a struggle as he threw for only 9 touchdowns and 18 interceptions while the Cowboys finished with a 1-15 record. But the team quickly turned things around, drafting guys such as Emmitt Smith and Pro Bowl tackle Eric Williams. Every NFL dynasty has included a quarterback that could perform in big-time moments, and Aikman with the Cowboys was no exception. One of Troy's most memorable performances came in Super Bowl 27, where he threw 4 touchdown passes and was named the game's MVP. Aikman's career ended sooner than he wanted due to concussions, back pain, and being frustrated with the Cowboys organization. But his impact on the franchise is undeniable. In retirement, Aikman transitioned to the broadcast booth, becoming one of the most recognized voices in NFL commentary. His legacy as a player and a voice for the game solidifies his place as one of the football greats. Aikman walked away from the game with 3 Super Bowl rings, 6 Pro Bowls, and a Hall of Fame induction in '06. Even with a number of other Hall of Famers on the draft board, Dallas made the right choice with this pick. With the second overall pick, the Green Bay Packers selected offensive tackle
Tony Mandarich.
This guy was basically the Ryan Leaf of offensive linemen. Mandarich had a ton of hype coming out of Michigan State and was truly viewed as a can't-miss prospect.
You know he's been dubbed the best tackle to hit the NFL in decades.
Before the draft, Sports Illustrated even featured him shirtless on their front cover. I mean, what team wouldn't want to draft this? His combination of size, strength, and athleticism earned him the nickname the Incredible Bulk. Unfortunately, Mandarich never lived up to the hype. His time in Green Bay was plagued by piss-poor play, off-the-field distractions, and allegations of steroid use. Despite being considered one of the best offensive line prospects in history, he struggled to adapt to the NFL. The Incredible Bulk has since admitted that much of his success at Michigan State was due to his steroid use, and he didn't juice in the pros because of the league's strict testing rules. He also cited his addiction to painkillers as part of his downfall. On top of everything else, Mandarich didn't have the athleticism to hold up against some of the league's premier pass rushers.
I saw him on film, and I watched him. I said, this guy's got no feet.
Unfortunately for Green Bay, this guy came into the league as a roided muscle man, not a franchise left tackle. After leaving Green Bay, Mandarich took some time away from football before attempting a comeback with the Indianapolis Colts. Surprisingly, he found mild success in Indianapolis, starting 32 games over 3 seasons. In his final year in the NFL, he was one of the Colts' starting offensive linemen. helping protect his rookie quarterback, Peyton Manning. While it wasn't enough to erase his earlier struggles, it at least showed he had the talent to compete at the professional level. He has since opened up about his struggles with substance abuse and the pressures of being a high-profile draft pick. Unfortunately, Mandarich's story has become another example of how hype usually outweighs reality. I hate to be Captain Hindsight, but the Pack probably should have drafted Deion with this pick.
I'd like at this time to introduce to you one of the finest running backs in the United States of America, and our number 1 pick, Deion Sanders.
The Detroit Lions held the 3rd pick and selected running back Deion Sanders out of Oklahoma State. Unlike Mandarich, this was an all-time great pick. Sanders left college with a Heisman Trophy and the greatest rushing season ever in college football history with over 2,600 yards and 37 touchdowns in '88. If you're a college football fan, you know that Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty had a historic season in '24, but Barry's '88 season beats it in every statistical category. Barry was already a legend before he ever touched the NFL field. And he didn't let up once he reached the league. Sanders burst onto the scene as a rookie, earning Offensive Rookie of the Year honors in '89. This guy was ready for the NFL before he took his first snap. All the Lions had to do was hand him the ball, and the rest was NFL history. Barry was like something out of a MC Hammer song. Nobody could touch this. Barry has to be the most creative and elusive runner in NFL history. Even when there weren't running lanes in front of him, Barry had a knack for creating home run hitting plays. Through 10 seasons, nobody's rushing stats touches Barry's. Not even Walter Payton, Jim Brown, Adrian Peterson, or Derrick Henry. This guy was truly something out of a video game, rushing for over 15,000 yards in just 10 seasons. In '97, he won an MVP award, becoming just the 3rd player at that time to rush for more than 2,000 yards in a single season. Throughout his career, he earned a Pro Bowl selection for every year he played. He was also a 6-time All-Pro with 4 rushing titles. His consistency was astounding. He rushed for over 1,000 yards every year of his career. Despite his individual brilliance, Sanders never made it to a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the Lions were the Lions. Sanders' lone playoff win came early in his career at the end of the '91 season, beating Aikman and the Cowboys. Sanders is another all-time great player that never touched a Lombardi. In a shocking move, Sanders retired abruptly in '99, walking away while still at the peak of his abilities. At the time, he was within striking distance of Walter Payton's all-time rushing record, but in Barry's own words, his competitive drive had fizzled.
That real drive and determination and enjoyment of the game had left.
Despite not having any of the major rushing records or any Super Bowl rings, Barry is still in the conversation for the greatest running back of all time. He definitely has my vote as the GOAT. Deion was really happy his name wasn't called with Detroit's pick.
I was kind of scared. I thought Detroit was going to take me. I would have asked for so much money that I had to put me on layaway.
The Kansas City Chiefs first-round selection, Derrick Thomas, linebacker, Alabama.
This was one of the greatest first-round picks in Chiefs history. Derrick Thomas became an NFL legend whose story ended far too soon. Before DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, and Micah Parsons, Derrick Thomas was the league's premier pass rusher off the edge. This guy was a star coming out of Alabama. In his senior year, he had an unbelievable 27 sacks in one season. And once he made it to the league, Thomas continued to terrorize opposing quarterbacks for a decade. His bendy frame and ability to pressure the quarterback made him a cornerstone of the Chiefs' defense. DT made an immediate impact as a rookie, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year honors in '89. Over the course of his career, Thomas earned 9 Pro Bowl selections and was named a first-team All-Pro 2 times. Throughout the entire decade of the '90s, Thomas had more sacks than any other player, more than Reggie White, Bruce Smith, or Kevin Green, all of which are Hall of Famers. His most memorable game came against the Seattle Seahawks during the 1990 season. Thomas broke the single-season sack record with 7, a record that still stands today. He finished his career with 126.5 sacks. Off the field, Thomas was known for making questionable decisions at times, but he obviously loved helping children and giving back to the community. He established the Third and Long Foundation to help children in need. Thomas became known for his actions beyond the football field, making him a beloved figure in the city. But sadly, Thomas's life was cut short in 2000 following a car accident that left him paralyzed and ultimately led to his passing. According to sources, Thomas was trying to catch a flight for the NFC Championship game between the Rams and the Bucs, but he was running late and speeding during a snowstorm. And to make matters worse, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Tragically, he drove off the road and flipped his vehicle several times. One of his passengers walked away while the other passed at the scene. Initially, Thomas's spine was severed and he spent a few weeks in the hospital. He even appeared to be in stable condition. But shockingly, Thomas passed away suddenly due to a pulmonary embolism. He developed blood clots in his legs that spread to his lungs. It was a major blow to his family and the football community, as Thomas was revered by Chiefs fans and others throughout the NFL. It's been reported that Al Davis, late owner of the rival Oakland Raiders, actually paid for Thomas's funeral. Thomas was a true legend and is deeply missed. Despite the heartbreak, his legacy lives on through his family, his foundation, and his enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2009. DT also made the NFL's all-decade team of the 90s. Chiefs fans have every reason to celebrate this pick, as Thomas remains one of the greatest players in NFL history. After Thomas was drafted, the Atlanta Falcons selected Deion Sanders. While Deion is arguably the best cornerback of all time, I think the teams in front of Atlanta picked the right players for their franchise. Well, other than Green Bay, of course. Outside of the top 5, this draft was stacked with players such as Hall of Famer Steve Atwater and forgotten playmakers Eric Metcalf, Andre Rison, and Carnell Lake. If you like this video, please check out one of my others. There's more on the way. Also, please like and subscribe. It really helps out my growing channel. Till next time.